welcome to another episode, to the first ever theory on this channel. It's a theory about what would have happened if Tenma, Matsukasa Tenma, or Arian Shiwind, his dub name, would have died in the beginning of Inazuma 11 Go. Because as we all know who would have watched that, no, hold right there. I'm going into deep spoiler territory. I will spoil the following. The end of Inazuma 11 Season 3, the entirety of Inazuma 11 Go, the movie, The Ultimate Bonds of Griffon, Go Chronostone, and Go Galaxy. The only two things I really don't consider canon are those things. The dream match, because it's basically just like a what would have scenario between your favorite characters, nothing more. And the crossover movie between LBX and Inazuma 11. Because it's just a crossover movie, it doesn't have anything to do with the real plot of the series. Now, let's get started, shall we? In Okinawa, Tenma sees a puppy and wants to save it. That puppy would later be his dog, Spotter. And as you see, those planks look very, very heavy. And he's a child. If those would have fallen on him, he would have been injured. Maybe not died, but I think very severely injured. But let's go for the worst case scenario and be very cruel here. Let's say he would have died from that. Well, in the story of Inazuma 11 Go, of course, Axel Blaze, who was at the time in Okinawa because he was hiding, saved Tenma with a ball. And the ball had the Raymond logo. But what if that wouldn't happen? We all know that, thanks to Tenma, Raymond won the Holy Road. And that is a big accomplishment. And they broke 5th Sector's rule. Because they wanted to change the football that they loved. Now, we have to think a little bit back to the ending of Season 3. In the last episode, Kickoff Towards Tomorrow, we have one last match between all of our favorite characters of Season 1, 2 and 3. But at the end of that episode, we shortly see a boy. And the only thing that's being said about him is, the legend continues. Now, at that time, nobody knew who this was. But as you later found out, this is Tenma. 10 years after he was saved in Okinawa. So, let's shall beginning with what would happen if Tenma didn't arrive at Raymond. Or died. Now, the Black Templars would have destroyed Raymond. Maybe completely disbanded Raymond even, or just severely injured Raymond. These Black Templars are of course led by Tsurugi. And he would have joined Raymond anyway, because he was supposed to spy on them. Well, now if Tenma was there or wasn't, I don't think it would have changed much, to be honest. And as we know, Tsurugi would have been inclined to help Raymond if Tenma wasn't there. The only reason that Tenma convinced Tsurugi to help him, or Tsurugi had a change of hearts, was because of his brother, who told him that he should be there with his team in the match against the Royal Academy, and the match against the Milky Way Charter. In that match, we see some pretty ugly plays. Tsurugi has started to doubt if everything was good. But the thing that really changed Tsurugi's thinking was no doubt the game against Almighty Faith. In this game, one of the players of Almighty Faith tries to hurt Tenma in a way that he wouldn't be able to walk anymore. Now, Tsurugi's brother is handicapped. He has a wheelchair now. He can't move his legs. So that is a major red flag for Tsurugi. So he saved Tenma. And with that, he realized what kind of bullshit Fifth Sector was pulling. Tsugi only helped them to finance the medical care for his brother, but that wasn't right for him. And Tenma's inspiring words helped him with that. Let's go to our match before that. The match against Prodigy Grammar. This match was of course rigged, like all matches were, under control of 5th Sector. Prodigy Grammar was supposed to win in a very easy 3-0. But because of Tenma's encouraging words and the last second pass to Shindo Takto, Shindo scored. And the match ended with a 3-1. 5th Sector didn't like that. And Raymond has just broken one of the rules. And we can also say that without Tenma, many other things didn't happen or just completely failed. The biggest of that is the resistance. The resistance of Kido Yuto and all others would have failed. Tenma wasn't there. Tenma wouldn't be there to convince his teammates or convince Raymond or convince anyone. Or maybe even Raymond wouldn't be there because they would all be too severely injured and stop playing football. Who knows? And so the resistance would fail. The whole Emperor would have won, and 5th Sector could have continued his doings. Now, all of that is now leading us to another thing. Shu. We meet Shu in the movie The Ultimate Bonds of Griffon. In that movie, Raymond appears on God Eden, an island controlled by 5th Sector, and Tenma there meets Shu. Shu is a part of the team from 5th Sector, of the ultimate team, the team of the best. And Shu realizes, thanks to Tenma, at the end of the season, well, at the end of the movie, that his ways, the ways of 5th Sector weren't right. And so they have one last wonderful match. And with that match, Shu realizes that all what he's done was wrong, and that soccer was a beautiful thing in truth. That would have led to Shu helping Tenma and the Chronostone team later on. But Tenma wasn't there. Okay, let's say Raymond would have arrived anyway. They would have been beaten down, no matter what. Sure, Fubuki Shiro, Stonewall, all of them were there. They would have no doubt played wonderful and even maybe won, but Tenma wasn't there, and Shu would have just thought that it was just a lose, nothing more. Shu wouldn't probably even care. Although he would have, kind of, because if they lost, they would all have been eliminated. Or at least thrown away, like nothing. This brings me to our next point. And that's the dream match. The dream match is just it's just a crossover movie by all your favorite characters, so of course I'm not going to talk about that, just like as I told you. But in the dream match, I think one thing would have maybe changed. Tenma wouldn't be there. That's everything. Yeah. So, let's go to Chronostone, the next season. And there were things that would start to be interesting, because Faerun saved Tenma in the beginning of Chronostone. Not Extra Blaze. Protocol Omega has wanted to change the timeline so that Tenma would have died. But Faerun intervened and changed the timeline back. So, Faerun could have changed this entire theory just by resetting the time and saving Tenma. But would he? Tenma only became a thing that Faerun knew because of one important thing. And that's that Raymond won, thanks to the leadership of Tenma. But Raymond would have won. Maybe even Faye wouldn't be born, or Faye wouldn't be at least concerned about Tenma, because he wouldn't even know who that is. Because if Tenma's eradicated from the history books, then why would Faye even know him? So Faye would have continued his journey alone and tried to stop Protocol Omega and El Dorado at that. But that wouldn't been anything. You all know this move. Kami no Takto. Ricardo's, Shindo Takto's signature move. It's a special technique. And he wouldn't use that. He only used it because Tenma reminded him how beautiful soccer is. And that he shouldn't give up on it. But without Tenma, why would he even use that move? The matches were rigged anyway, so why even bother? And Shindo would have probably just stopped playing football at all. But let's go back to Faye. Let's say Faye recruited somehow Shindo and Tsurugi. Well, Tsurugi would have been recruited by his brother, who appeared at one match. But now he only has Shindo and Tsurugi. Tenma still missing. And without Tenma, they wouldn't be able to win against El Dorado, because they would have been too weak. Tenma wouldn't be able to achieve his mini mix-max with Shu and King Arthur, so nobody could have taken King Arthur's soul. Or another thing is that they would have lost every match against El Dorado, and Shu wouldn't have rescued them on God Eden when they were training there. So Faye Runa would have failed. And the timeline would have changed completely, and football would have just been eradicated from existence. And with that, Faye Runa and everybody else. Now, let's talk about Go Galaxy, shall we? And Go Galaxy, Tenma's being picked as one of the representatives for Inazuma Japan. But later on learn that they are fighting against other planets. Now, Tenma wouldn't have been there. Okay, let's say that the Go Galaxy team would have won every match up until the final. Somehow. Now, let's say that Go Galaxy would have happened even if Chronostone happened. Let's say it's just an alternate timeline of Chronostone. Shindo and Tsurugi would have been there. But as we all know, Tsurugi leaves Inazuma Japan to join the planet, you know. Oh Jesus, Hatsu, do something for the script. In a match against Ordo Favonius, Tsurugi would have stayed on their side and beaten Earth 11. Even if all the other planets would have come to help, they would have lost anyway, because of the Berserk from Ordo Favonius, which caused all of the fighting ghosts to just go completely berserk. Now, as you see, without Tenma, many things wouldn't have happened or would have been completely changed, and this was just a theory put together by me in a couple of hours. I don't even have a script for that, but already so many things would have changed. So, if you want to see a complete, full theory video on that, tell me in the comments below, and I will put in the effort to do a complete theory on that, analyzing every single match and player. This was Cookie, and I see you next time.